Right, all. So I just thought I'd share some photos and videos that I took from the Balkans back in 2018. I went to Dubrovnik to go scuba diving. In my ignorance, one thing I remember in particular about that was when I was scuba diving thinking there's no way in the Adriatic Sea I was going to encounter any sort of sharks or anything like that. But what I actually discovered later on is actually that's where great white sharks used to go to spawn basically. So I was extremely fortunate not to bump into any. One of the main things we saw out there were octopuses. I had quite a few of them squirting ink at me, which is an experience I won't forget. And after I'd done my day scuba diving, so I landed, got in the car that was rented, the Vauxhall Opel, and then drove to the diving site. I had a walk around Dubrovnik for the day, and then my diving was the next day. A couple of Bosnian and Serbian lads were running it, and after the day was over, basically the next time I was due to scuba dive was a couple of days away, so I had quite a lot of time to myself. So I had another walk around Dubrovnik, and then I thought, you know what, I've got a car, and then I was looking on the map because I only use road atlases, I don't use sat navs, and I just thought, you know what, the Bosnian border is only about 5 kilometres away, so I'm going to hit it. And this is Bosnia, would you believe it? One of the most beautiful countries I've ever been to. Look at that beach. Just the water was clear. There's no pollution that I could see. Crystal clear waters. An absolute paradise. And the people were friendly as well. All right, there's mosques. Not a problem. It's in Europe after all. Same as Albania. And that was it. I was travelling around, and this is back into Croatia, and the poppies here in Croatia. And it goes in and out of each other, obviously, around here. And the car I was using, the Vauxhall, that was an absolute beast. I absolutely love Vauxhall courses, Vauxhall Opals. And this is Croatia again. I remember this in particular because some Croatian lady walked past me and said "bok," which means hello in Croatian. I think I replied hello, just to see if we could get a conversation going. Once you realise it's English. But it didn't. And this is back into Bosnia again, and I remember stopping off there and just being mesmerised how amazing it was. How peaceful was that? And then I came into a place called Mostar, if that's how you pronounce it. And when I was there was a lot of American tourists jumping off the bridge, and there was Thai tourists. The ladies were in traditional dress, like the red cap. What are they called again? Oh, it's gone. Anyway, this lake here, I stopped off, pulled over in the lay-by, got out of the car and went for a dip. I went down there to wash, could have been in the car for about 2 days. I was sleeping in the car from time to time, and then I stopped over at a 3-star hotel. Look how clear that water is. And the people I chatted to were quite friendly. There was a guy I was chatting to about Mirko Krokop, the UFC fighter, Fedor Emelianenko, because I was learning about UFC at that time because I was going off boxing and I preferred watching MMA. And he, that was great. It was perfect timing because we could relate and talk about it because Krokop's Croatian, and this is into Sarajevo, and Sarajevo is quite an interesting city, capital city, because there's a good contrast between the old and the new. So there's like a new town with all its Western degeneracy, shopping centres and that, and then there's the old town of religion and so on. And this is in Montenegro, where they're doing a lot of white water rafting. And there's actually bears roam around there. And yeah, there's this lake here. I remember stopping off there and thinking it looked a lot like Canada with like the snow-capped mountains surrounding the lake. It made me think, Europe has got everything really. And I seem to think this part was Serbia, maybe. How amazing must that be to live there? And Montenegro here, the lake with the crucifix. Yeah, and this was a dog we came across in a lay-by, having to play. Sadly, the dogs over there do get some bad treatment. You see them by the sides. Sometimes you even see dogs run over, almost like foxes and squirrels and so on in the UK, sadly. And Croatia, again. One of the gardens that was there. I'm guessing that must be like Zeus or something. Yeah, back into Dubrovnik. I was there for my second scuba diving stint, and I pulled over in a lay-by, ran up the side of this mountain hill that overlooks the city, in time for the sunset to get a photo. Back in there for the night time, did a bit of nighttime photography around the castle wall city. Obviously nowadays, it's just a big nightclub, sort of western sort of thing. And finally, what I will say, on a closing note, when I got back to Derby city centre, I think I remember it was a Sunday, and you had women sort of staggering around half naked, pissed up. You had, I remember going into the subway, and for anyone from Derby, you might remember that Indian bloke with schizophrenia used to walk around backwards chucking pennies around. But anyway, he was in the subway at the time. You had spice heads passed out in shop doorways, smack heads, piss heads, just a lovely British summertime sort of day, really. But to go from Croatia and Bosnia back to Derby, and it's not just Derby; it'll be all towns and cities. Derby's probably in the middle ground compared to some places like Bradford and Rochdale, areas of London. But yeah, I just thought, you know what, Bosnia was a million times nicer in its attitude and its way of behaviour. But then again, here I am. I'm sure if I lived over there, I'd probably want to come to Britain. I don't know. But anyway, there's the beauty of the Balkans.